What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel where I talk about movies. Today I'm going to be talking about Kill Bill Volume 2. Now before I get into this review, I do want to give you guys a quick backstory because if you saw my last video, you guys know I'm an absolute fan of Kill Bill. So you might be thinking he must love Kill Bill 2. Guess what? I've never seen it! I mean, for the longest time, I just refused to watch the second one just because I thought the first one was such a perfect movie that I thought the second one could never live up to the hype. I was like, there's no way Kill Bill 2 can be as good as Kill Bill 1. There's just no way. And then I was at work one day telling my coworker how good Kill Bill was, and he's just like, have you seen Kill Bill 2? And I'm like, no. And he's like, what are you talking about? You can't start something and then not finish it. And I was just like, you know what? That's a good point. So I watched Kill Bill 2, and my golly was I wrong. Kill Bill 2 is just as good as a movie as Kill Bill 1. Now I still like Kill Bill Volume 1 slightly more, but like I said, Kill Bill 2 is just as good of a movie. And part of the reason as to why I think part 2 was so well done is because it shifts the focus, right? Like in the first movie, it's very heavily focused on the action sequences and the violence. And make no mistake, this movie is very violent as well. I mean, there's literally a scene where Uma Thurman is fighting some chick with a samurai sword, and then she just pulls out her entire eyeball, and she's just screaming in pain. I mean, this, make no mistake, it is still very violent and gory and intense. But what I'm saying is, it's not as heavily focused on that as the first movie. This movie is more focused on dialogue and deep conversations that have meaning. I mean, just think about it. You never see Bill in the first movie. You literally never see him. Like, you hear him talking, you hear people talking of him, there's this big aura around him, but you never see Bill. And in the second movie, you get a lot of Bill. So I thought that was really smart to shift the focus from more action to dialogue in the second movie, because I think if they went for the action-packed movie like the first one, that's exactly why I didn't want to watch the second movie, is because I feared that. I feared that they were going to do the same thing, try to make it an action-packed movie, try to make it like the first one, and it just would have never been as good because, one, it would have felt repetitive, and two, it's not as original because the first movie is just so original and just the first movie. So I really enjoyed that shift in focus because I really do believe that the movie wouldn't have been as good as it was if it wasn't for that. And Bill is awesome, by the way. I don't know the actor who plays him. I've never heard of him, but god damn it, phenomenal job, because I love Bill's character. There's a thing about him that whenever he pops into a scene, he just has a way to slow everything down and make it calm. Like whenever he's talking, it's very soothing and he's using metaphors and it's very beautiful dialect, and you're just like, whoa, bro, keep talking. And I really like that because it's very contrasting to the very high-paced, action-packed, sequences that we've been getting. And that's awesome because he has a way of like softening the blow, right? Like everything becomes softer and you're kind of like in this like lull, like, oh, this is nice. And then boom, the big blow, and you're just like, whoa. Like for example, the wedding scene, we know what's gonna happen. We've heard about it in the first movie, but we just haven't seen it. And Bill comes out of nowhere and they're kind of having like a good conversation. You're like, okay, this is okay, but we know what's gonna happen. We know he's a psycho, he's gonna kill everyone, but like the conversation is kind of like deep, and it kind of seems like he likes her and he loves her and he's there for her. So it just softens the whole situation and you're like, okay. And then boom, ba 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 ba, he kills everybody, and then she just screams. Like, damn. But let me go ahead and talk about one of the flaws in this movie, and it's not necessarily a flaw, it's just something I didn't like. When Bill introduces Uma Thurman's character to the samurai master, or the master that's going to teach her all the moves, I thought that the master was portrayed in a little bit of a goofy way. And I didn't appreciate that because this is the guy that taught Bill how to be a savage killer, and he taught Uma Thurman how to be an assassin. I mean, this guy's the shit. And then you see him, and he's not the shit. I mean, he looks absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion at least. I mean, there's literally a scene where he's touching his beard like, and he does it 8 times. It's like, I get it, okay? I get it. I get this thing. You don't have to do it 8 times. Like I said, it looked goofy and it felt like I was watching Kung Pao, alright? It felt like that. And I don't know if that's what he was going for, if he was going for like a sarcastic, goofy, like funny scene. But to me, I feel like they could have done better there. To me, it didn't fit with the whole movie. I thought that it would have been better if it was more a serious tone, more respectable. And I'm not saying that I totally hate this sequence or this scene in the movie. I still enjoy it. I'll still watch it and appreciate it for what it is. I just feel like it could have been done better. I felt like the goofy route was not the way to go. And I also have to point out this scene when Uma Thurman gets buried alive and then she just unburies herself alive. What? Like, what the f? Now you have to understand what I'm about to say is gonna sound very hypocritical. Because if you saw my first Kill Bill review, you heard that I said if you don't like unrealistic things, don't watch this movie because it's unrealistic. And I like those unrealistic parts, like when she beats up 40 dudes with a samurai sword. They work for me. I like that unrealisticness. I don't think that's a word, but we're gonna work with it. Anyways, I do think unrealistic scenes work, especially in Quentin Tarantino movies. But like everything in life, there's a fine line. There's a balance that you need to find. And I just think that this scene crosses the line completely. I mean, she buried herself and then she unburied. It's like, I need to feel that the character of the movie has consequences that she can suffer. If she has zero consequences to suffer, then I can't feel for my character like going through these struggles because it's like, oh, she's just invincible. I mean, at what point do we say enough's enough? I mean, there's gotta be a cutoff. There's gotta be I mean, I like unrealistic stuff, but we can't have Nazis coming out of space either. Like, there's gotta be a cutoff. And for her to get buried alive, which is one of the worst ways to die, and she just crawls out of the ground? I'm sorry, dude, it did not work for me. That was too much. That was crossing the line. To me, if you wanted to do that scene, you do it one of two ways. One, you get someone else to help her out of it, and if you don't have anyone else in the story to help her out of it, then don't have that scene! I just feel like it takes the human element out of Uma Thurman's character because if you can just get buried alive and crawl out, it's like, I don't feel like she's fearing and she's like, oh my god, I'm f***ed. Like a regular human would feel in that moment. So yeah, I think I probably ranted on too long about that, but that's what I have to say about that. Moving on to the good stuff about this movie, forget about the two flaws I pointed out, forget about the less action sequences you get in this movie. The last 30 minutes of this film is everything. It makes the movie. Because in the opening of this scene, Uma Thurman has the eye of the tiger, man. I mean, the rage and the anger that you see in her eyes as she's coming in, I'm gonna kill this guy, and she turns the corner with the gun, and then her entire demeanor changes in a split second as they cut the camera to Bill and her daughter!
Freeze, mommy.
Bang, bang! Oh!
Oh. My god, that scene was awesome. And then from that moment on to the end of the film, your eyes are glued to the screen because everything is so important from this moment on. Now, obviously everyone's waiting for the big fight and they're gonna kill one another, but I like that he injects her with this serum to like make her kind of like talk a little bit more, because this conversation is so important. Like when he asks her, did you truly think your life was gonna work out? And then she's just bawling and no! I don't know why, but that scene hit me so hard because I felt it. I'm gonna talk from my personal experience. Like, when you're young, sometimes you're just naive and stupid. I know Bill's the bad guy, he's a murderer, he's not right. I get all that. But still, aside from that, when you're young, sometimes you're naive and you just want to be defiant. You want to show others, I can do it, man. I don't need your help, alright? I felt that way certainly the first time I went to live on my own. I was like, I don't need your help. I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna be a rebel and I'm gonna prove that I can do it on my own. And that's what I felt in that moment. It was just like, maybe it wasn't true love, maybe it wasn't the right way to go, but god damn it, I'm gonna give it a shot because this guy and I'm gonna prove them wrong. But in that moment, it was like deep down she felt, he's right, god damn it, it wasn't gonna work out. And the conversation just gets better and better because it just gets deeper and deeper, and then Bill just comes with the funniest line.
I overreacted.
And Uma Thurman's like, you overreacted?
You overreacted?
I laughed so hard at that part. I mean, that shit was hilarious, bro. And like the body movements of Uma Thurman, I gotta point this out, just made that scene so much better. I mean, she's like this and she's like, you overreacted? But yeah, as the conversation starts to wind down, then comes the final moment. And I have to say, how do I say this? I love the ending, but I think there was a missed opportunity. Let's talk about the missed opportunity. This is the epic finale, okay? Like, the entire story revolves around this meeting, and they're finally gonna fight. And then they swing their swords like 3 or 4 times, and the fight's over. I'm like, well, what? That's it? Come on, Quentin! This is the epic finale. We need more action here. This this is where you put the action. This is where the samurai swords come out flying, bro. This is where we need it. But yeah, I remember watching this movie and being very surprised when the fight's over. I'm like, that was it? There was like 4 or 5 swings. I definitely felt like it was a missed opportunity. They could have put maybe a little bit 30 to a minute longer of just more action and people would have appreciated that. I feel like that was the right moment to do it. But then at the same time, when I watched the scene, I understand what he was going for, because I still absolutely love the ending. When she hits him with that like pressure point heart explosion technique, this is a perfect example where I think unrealistic stuff like that works tremendously in this movie. Of course, there's no 5-punch pressure point heart explosion technique. That's so unrealistic. And you get to stay alive as like you walk away for 5, like, okay. But that makes that moment and that scene so much more cinematic, where it's like, that's where you use unrealistic stuff, okay? Not her getting unburied alive! He talks about this technique with high regards early in the movie and you're just like, whoa, that's impressive. And then she gets taught that technique and uses it on him, so it's super ironic. And then that moment when he knows he's gonna die, but he still has some time to talk with her a little bit. That's what makes that scene so good, because it's like, he knows he's gonna die, he knows she bested him, and then he's just like, they're having like a conversation a little bit more, and then he's just like, you're my favorite type of person. And I love that moment, because even though they're trying to kill each other, even though Uma Thurman wants to kill Bill so bad, she hates him, she still loves him too. You can see it when he's going to walk away and he's gonna die. She is just filled with mixed emotions in her face. And that's the thing, you can't truly hate someone unless you've loved them first, right? Like, you can dislike someone if you don't know them, but you can't hate them. Like, the only way to truly hate someone is because you like them, you knew them first, and then they screwed you over, they did something, and you're like, F this individual. And I love to see that mixed emotions in her. It's not just like, oh, F this guy, I got you, bingo, I won, checkmate. No, it was more like, oh, I killed you, but F like, we've been through so much, and it's like, and then he walks away and then falls down. You see the stars in the back. I mean, like I said, very cinematic, and I understand more why maybe he didn't throw as much fighting in there and made it more focused on the dialogue. Like I said, that's what made this movie so good, in my opinion. But yeah, all in all, I'm gonna give Kill Bill Volume 2 a solid A. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. It's a great sequel. So like I said before, I didn't really have high hopes for this movie, but it definitely surpassed my expectations. So thank you so much, Quentin Tarantino, for making these awesome movies. There's not enough of these out there anymore. I truly appreciate these pieces of art. I'm gonna watch them so many more times in my life. And so just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And as always, for you guys, comment down below what you guys want to see from future videos, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.